Anna Olsen. Welcome to my show, Insights into Consciousness, here on A1R Radio. I have my show here every Thursday, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time and 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, I'm excited because I am going into how to use Oracle and Tarot cards. And, you know, it's funny how a lot of readers want to go into like how you say Tarot. Some say you have to say it to row, like to row a boat. Other people say that it's like saying tarot. And I've even I heard it called tarot. I don't know. That's definitely not right. But I just wanted to go into how to basically charge your cards and how to cleanse them. It's really interesting how energy works with these cards. The basic concept is that you want your cards to have your essence on them, and you want your cards to basically know, well, they say no, but basically it's your energy that you're putting into the card, and that your cards are yours specifically. So I have a new pack of cards. These are the Guardian Angel Tarot, and the author is Radley Valentine, wonderful artist on these. So basically they're in the wrap and they're brand new. This deck is, I think, usually around $20 to $30 for a brand new deck, and I get these at a discount usually. That's the way I like to buy them because I like to save money. You get your cards and usually you're drawn to them. So when you see them, you'll feel a pull to them. There'll be something about them that really draws you into them. When you are in the store or you're even looking online, when you can Google the title and the author of the cards, and you can usually find each card individually on the internet under images, and you can just sort of see if it resonates with you. There's so many different authors of these cards, it's amazing. I usually just go to the one that I'm drawn to, and more so in person. When you're in a store, I suggest to do it that way, and I love small businesses anyway. It's better to put your money there, right? Amazon can be kind of full of like big retail, and it's kind of taken away from little guy. But if you have these cards that you're drawn to in your hand, they're wrapped in the package. It's better if they're plastic wrapped. They're brand new because they're clean. There's only going to be your energy on them. So if you haven't looked into Reiki, I really suggest it. I've been trained at Stanford University in Reiki 1 and 2 so far. And I've got my attunements there at Stanford University. So this is the real deal, guys. You know, this is stuff that people practice, even in the medical fields at Stanford University and other big-time medical places. And this is a practice. Reiki is usually a healing from laying on of hands. And there's a systematic way to do it. And I just love that it's catching on in mainstream medical. They do this for cancer patients. I was trained at a cancer center at Stanford University. So Reiki is when you put your energy through your hands. You know how to direct this energy. That's what I do with my cards. I'd really look into doing Reiki if I were you, anybody, because you can charge everything. You can Reiki anything with an intention or healing or love before you eat. You can do it to your food. You can do it to your water, your drinks, anything that you have around you in your space. You charge it with Reiki. You can also heal with Reiki. You can heal yourself, your family, your pets. And I Reiki my cards. So I get my cards and I imagine that white light coming through the crown chakra and through my arms, and I just feel the energy in the cards, and I always am at the highest love and above frequency that I put into my cards, so that I know that anything that comes from the readings I do with these cards is going to be from love. And I also think about Christ when I do this, and I think about Christ consciousness and how the love that Christ has for others will only be the energy that comes through these cards, and that it is guarded by the most powerful God in the universe, in existence. So I put that into these cards. And after I do that, I will open them up and think about, well, the intention is is everything. So you think about your intention and everything that you want to do with these cards. There's a very spiritual practice that comes with opening the cards, even, and just being really meditative, meditating. There's a beautiful guidebook that comes with it. It's real sparkly. It's really, really pretty. It's all about angels, and there's a little bit about the author on there. And the guidebook is basically just a way for you to get comfortable with your cards. So the little book will explain what each card means. We have the cards here where we have these beautiful, it has a gold edge to it. These have some really gorgeous art on the front, and each one has, the same picture on the back where you can't see exactly what's underneath. So you can kind of see how that would aid in intention and getting the right card at the right time. I do believe that it is synchronized perfectly to get the right card at the right time under the correct frequency and the right intention. And then there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. A lot of different ways different readers do it. You can hit any energy that's still left in the cards out of them. It's any residual energy just coming out. You kind of hit it out and you imagine anything negative just going away. And then you can shuffle. You just shuffle them and think about your question, or think about what you want to do with these cards and the power that is going to come through for them. You shuffle. There's a lot of different ways to shuffle. These are really pretty fancy cards. They're pretty big, so it's a lot harder to do it Vegas style, where you're shuffling the deck and bridging them out and everything. But this, you can shuffle them any way you want. You can split the deck where you section it into different piles and then join them all together. And so this is the first thing I'm going to do on the show tonight. I'm going to grab a tarot card and I'm going to read it. So this is the Two of Action. Trust in your ability to make excellent choices. There's opportunity all around you if you just continue to move forward. It may take time to take on a new partner who can help you be a success in your career or creative endeavors. Keep your eyes on the big picture rather than the details of the moment. For me, this is important. I'm going to go ahead and show this art here and the way this looks. This is important for me because I just spoke with a good friend of mine about possibly opening up a shop. And we were basically daydreaming and talking about what would happen there at this shop. And we knew the location, this beautiful location, and all these things that you can possibly put into a shop of beautiful boutique things and all of that, just to put up, a nice plan of action for our business. And I'm seeing this card now coming through, and here we have a card that's speaking directly to me. This is brand new for me. This is speaking to me. I hope it speaks to other people, other viewers. It's amazing how this works when you use the cards and they come up just the right time in just the right way. It's perfect for me, and it's perfect, I'm sure, for a lot of people. You could have anybody look at that card, though, and they will get a different meaning for it depending upon what is going on in their lives. For instance, if to somebody else that means their relationship, it's still speaking to them. It doesn't have to be, oh, the card says this. You can look at the picture and get whatever it means to you, and that is not only your subconscious, but your spiritual inherent self speaking to you through the card. It's whatever is reflected to you that is happening now in your life. That's what comes through, and that's what I love about tarot and oracle cards. They're extremely powerful. They're good for you no matter how you use them, as long as they have positive message in them. But I do have to go over the fact that I do also have some shadow self cards. Now, when I say shadow self, that sounds a little scary, but I really want to reiterate that we each have a shadow side. We each have a side that does things we don't like, or has temptations we don't like, or different pains that we've suffered. And basically it's important to look at that shadow side too. We're not all fluffy rainbows and kittens all the time, as nice as that would be. We have this shadow side to deal with. Each one of us as human beings, that is inherently part of us. Not only is that okay, it's wonderful, because that's something we get to rein in, we get to tame, we get to accept about ourselves. And the farther we get away from that shadow self, the more that we are susceptible to bad relationships or fake relationships, the more we are susceptible to addictions of every type, the more we are prone to not eating well or taking care of ourselves. And the shadow self, it needs attention like a little kid. So like a child that needs discipline. And when I say discipline, I don't mean punishment, because I don't believe in punishing children or anybody. Discipline means to teach and to help grow and to nurture. So when I talk about the shadow self and having shadow oracle or tarot cards, it's because those are parts of us we need to address, face, discipline, and pay close attention to. Much of the time, this is also a child within us that has been harmed, or a part of us that has been going through trauma in our lives. So this is definitely something that we can deal with and really, really heal from. When I break out my shadow cards, sometimes when I'm laying them out and they look a little bit scary, there's not anything evil or anything, just sometimes they're women in suffering, and they have different labels and pictures on them. Sometimes they're crying, sometimes they're in a place of darkness, or it reflects to me my sadness and my trauma. And when I reflect my sadness and my trauma, I can heal that. I can move it up and out of my subconscious and process it in a healthy way. So that works for all people. That yes, we have these wonderful angel cards, and the angels help us to work on our shadow self, but we also need to focus on the shadow self, because that is part of us, and denying it can really be dangerous for us in our happiness. So to process those feelings of sadness or trauma or feeling abandoned, especially as a child, or feeling left out in our lifetimes, and everybody goes through that. It's not unusual for people to experience that in this life, but it's almost like we treat that as something we don't want to talk about or process or look at, because it feels like shame, and shame is the worst thing we can experience. Basically, I think that the shadow work is fantastic. I think that this light work is fantastic, but it does include the shadow, because that is part of the emotional part that needs to come up and be processed. Now, I have a caller today. Her name is Kat, and she's from Wyoming, United States. I'd like to take her call now. Kat?
Hi.
Hi, Kat. How are you tonight?
I am good. I'm excited.
Me too. So what would you like to go over tonight? What would you like to focus on?
Oh, probably love.
Oh,
I know you're surprised.
Okay. Love. Would you like me to pull a card for you, an angel card, and see what comes up?
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
let's do that. I just opened them on the show, so I thought I would just demonstrate how they work. So I'm shuffling them, and I'm thinking about Kat in Wyoming, and I'm basically sourcing some love and from me to help to hopefully aid her and to give her information that she needs right now. And I had a card fall out. And it is called the Six of Emotion. It says, memories can fill your heart with many emotions. It's important to remember your past accurately without seeing it as better or worse than it was. People you used to know may return to your life unexpectedly. Children could be an important issue, or you may need to reconnect with your inner child. Now, I was just talking about shadow work, see how this works, and connecting to a younger self. I'm going to go ahead and hold up this card to the screen, so maybe we can get a close-up. And it has two children, a boy and a girl on the front, and it is depicting them basically visiting and being together. So this is the Six of Emotion, and it's going into inner child. So can you relate to that card, Kat?
Yes. I've been doing a lot of my own shadow work, actually. Yeah.
Isn't this wonderful?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so it looks like when I'm looking at the card, I'm focusing and meditating on you, and the basic message I'm getting is that there's a rabbit on the little girl's lap, and the message I'm getting from that rabbit is that you feel rushed into this. Is that accurate?
I feel rushed. Well, I've never been married, and I want to be.
Okay.
I always have. So kind of, yeah.
Are you kind of getting to the point where you're like, okay, I'm getting impatient?
Very much so, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm wondering, what about your childhood or maybe your past that may be coming up for you that may be inhibiting exactly what you want? Because I want to focus on what you want for your life. You're telling me that you would like to go ahead and find your soulmate or your partner or whatever, however you want that to look. Marriage, it's it's important to remember that it doesn't look the reader's way for anybody. It has to be appropriate for the person who's being read. So however that looks to you. So I'm wondering what part of your shadow self or your past events in your childhood, what part of that do you believe in yourself is holding you back with the relationship or love?
Well, excuse me. I recently got out of a 5-year relationship that was completely horrible and codependent, and I've done a lot of reflecting on, just like all the cheating that happened, and I accepted that. I accepted him doing that to me for all that time, all those 5 years, repeatedly. So now I'm at a point where I've always seen that I wasn't good enough from childhood on. And through my childhood, there was a lot of abuse, so it was kind of a normal. It was a normalcy. Just be accepted as not good enough. And abuse actually, kind of subconsciously, when I'm being treated poorly or abused in whatever way, because that's what I thought love was. It even manifested itself into that entire relationship for 5 years. So now as I'm sitting here realizing all these things and how they coincide with my childhood, right up until the 46 years of life that I have now, I don't know.
So you're saying that this is it's the reason why you were in this relationship for 5 years and basically spending 5 precious years of your life with somebody who was not serving you is because this was familiar to you from your childhood, that this was something that you felt comfortable with because you went through it in your childhood, or perhaps maybe you were putting yourself back into that situation to work out what you didn't work out with your abusers or with the trauma that happened when you were younger. There's a feeling of familiarity. Maybe it's not comfort. Maybe it's more like it's familiar, or it's just something that you wanted to continue to work on. Whereas really the work needs to be more done internally than with a person, a relationship. And so it seems to me that what you're saying is that this reflects completely on you, that you're in a hurry, you want love, you want this companionship. However, I think I feel that you're still very young, and you're saying that this is the shadow work that you get to do now. So I really want to come up with a good resolution for you. We kind of got to the bottom of why this hasn't been working thus far. You do have immense worth, and the person that you are going to be with needs to realize your worth and treat you as such. And I would like to introduce you to the idea of, instead of seeing something as a red flag with somebody when you're dating them, to see that more as a deal breaker. Or,
Right.
not excuse it or explain it away, that if it's a deal breaker, you're gone. And you're going to have your list of things You can even sit down and write this out, where you have a list of things you will and will not deal with, you will not put up with. The things you're not going to put up with, you're going to have them on a list. And the minute they happen while you're with somebody, you're gone. You're out the door. It's done. And usually these things will come up in the first 6 months that you get to know somebody. You're going to need a good full year to get to know somebody before you're even thinking about going into a relationship with them long term or really committing. And so, I think that this desperation of like, I really want to be in a relationship, I really want to be in a marriage, not that you're a desperate person, just like it's a feeling of like wanting the companionship. It's this rushed feeling. That accompanying the low self-worth, and it's not that you're the self-worth is a very, your lack of self-worth right now, those belief systems, it is so inaccurate. It's just, I really wish that you could see that and just know that, you should be put on a pedestal. And in addition, setting a framework, it's basically setting a framework for who you want. And if the guy doesn't fit your framework, he doesn't get his foot in the door. This person isn't allowed in your life. This person needs to fit a framework for you. The big issues first, and then all the other little tiny things like, how clean is he around the house, or, all those little things. Those can be kind of sorted out later, and it just needs to fit your framework of what you want in a relationship as closely as possible. It can't be perfect because it's hard to find a man who's going to find, good, just fit down to every single last detail. But to have that framework and not allow anybody in the door unless they fit your framework. And then also the kicker, like the big thing to that is to be who you want to attract. If you want a person who makes a certain amount of money, you're going to want to make a certain amount of money. If you want a person who looks a certain way, you want to look a certain way. You're going to be a magnet for the right person also if you are the right person.
Right.
I know that was a lot in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, I get that now. But the man I was with for 5 years, it was a very spiritual connection, but he failed himself. So I had gotten past that point. Well, what should I have done? What could I have done to help him? I do that. I just naturally do that. And that's really hurting no one but me. But he's been showing up in my dreams a lot lately. I have premonitions through my dreams.
Well, yeah, and I have just a few seconds left, but basically, I'm getting that those dreams it's you processing the stress from loss and grief from losing him. So really, it's healthy to have these dreams and journal them in a dream journal, and that can really, really help with that. I'm sorry I have to go. I wish I could stay another hour on the phone with you, but thanks so much for calling in. You can reach me on my website at AnnaOlsenIntuitive.com. You can make an appointment with me to talk to me as well, or take a one-on-one coaching with me. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful night.